I am a mom to one boy after a 50-hour labor, which ended up in a C-section. My name is Shayna, and I am a miraculous mama.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Miraculous Mamas podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Joy, and we are a podcast that believes in empowering women through storytelling and education. And I'm so glad that you're here. We have an amazing victory that happened this last week. There was for a while, a lot of hospitals in New York, especially saying that women in labor and delivery weren't allowed to have a support person there with them. But the state just ordered that hospitals allow your partner or your support person of choice to be at your side during labor and delivery, which is so, so important. I know last week I went on a rant about it. And I think this news had already came out, but I had already recorded the episode. So just want to celebrate that victory. I know that it can be a scary time to be going into hospitals and having babies, but truly believe that people want the best for you, that your healthcare providers want the best for you, that the people who are there are looking out for you, and they have your back and they want the best for you as well. So as I said last week, Vito's on this episode with me. So I have a very special guest, my husband, the love of my life, the apple of my eye, Vito Presta.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
I traveled a long way to be here.
Yeah. From the kitchen to the office.
Yep.
But yeah, we wanted to share some news with you guys this week. I know that some of you know, I've been talking openly in the Facebook group about it, but we just wanted to wait to announce it because we're just really enjoying this first part together. And
what are you announcing, babe?
And I'm halfway through my pregnancy, 20 weeks, and I'm super excited.
Wild.
It is wild. And I think just because of the chemical pregnancy that we had, I mean, obviously we were so excited that we got pregnant, and we told our parents, our siblings, and just a few close people right away. And then we had that loss. So with this one, we decided to wait, and we didn't even tell our families until after we went to the doctor, till everything was confirmed. And then we told our parents and our siblings. And then we still waited quite a while to tell a lot of other people.
Anybody, yeah.
So, but we wanted to share with you guys. I have loads of questions from the Facebook group about the pregnancy, about trying to conceive, all of it. So we wanted to come on and share what this has been like for us. I know from talking with a lot of you that a lot of women have gone through chemical pregnancies, and going through the process, I learned that they're so common and it's so out of your control. So it's nothing that you did wrong. It's nothing that, that you could have done differently. And I was reading last night that back in the day, before they came out with these pregnancy tests, the ones that we kind of have today, didn't come out till the 80s. And even then, you'd have to have missed your period by a few days to a week to 10 days, whatever, to actually get an extra line on it. Mm-hmm. But, we had our loss just after 5 weeks. And so back in the day, they never would have even known that they were pregnant. They would have had a late period, and then it would have been a very heavy period. Mm-hmm. So with all of this information that we have now, I was reading last night, because some people may think that there's more now than there was back then. And it's not necessarily, because almost 50% of women will have a chemical pregnancy and not even know about it. But the positive with that is 95% of women who experienced a loss first go on to have really healthy pregnancies, which is actually a higher statistic than women who have never had a loss. So that I found that really interesting, because I hope that just gives women listening hope that Your body is doing what it's supposed to do. And just because you had a loss, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with your body. It's your body trying to protect you and to protect your pregnancy if there was to be a healthy, viable one.
Yeah.
So,
well, you went through that mental struggle.
Yes, I did.
So what was that like for you then?
It was definitely really hard. So I'm going to kind of jump into like this time around. Mm-hmm. So after taking the pregnancy test and getting another positive, so we ended up getting pregnant right away after. It was a stormy afternoon in Texas.
Was it stormy?
No, I don't know. We're at my parents' house. That's where we conceived our child. And my mom knows that, and she's very excited about it because somehow she feels like she's a part of it.
Well, she provided a big enough shower, so.
Right. Their shower is bigger than ours. But yeah.
Was that too much information?
No.
Okay.
No. So going through it again, like getting another pregnancy test, like a positive, I honestly didn't really feel excited.
Same.
I felt scared.
Same.
And so it was really hard because then I felt guilty. Like as the weeks went on and I'm still pregnant, but I'm still scared. And then I felt guilty that I wasn't just enjoying it, mm-hmm. that I was just like, well, I'm just almost waiting for the worst.
Yeah.
So that was really hard. Plus we had a few scares in the beginning.
What do you mean?
I was spotting a lot one time. And so I want to share with you guys some of that stuff too, because I know everybody's symptoms are so different. And these are things that they don't necessarily talk about till later. And for me, spotting was normal at the beginning. And the baby was fine. So we went in, baby was fine.
Well, so wait. So one of the questions was, how did you find out?
Right. Well, we'll just start with the questions from the beginning, and then I guess we'll come back this way. So let's start with, for those who are trying to conceive, what advice can we give? And what did we do? Did we have a routine or any pre-pregnancy stuff to get pregnant?
Well, we were taking lots of vitamins and getting our health into check.
Right.
Just because you could read a lot of statistics on, the healthier you are, the healthier your sperm and egg are. Mm-hmm. There's tons of data on it.
And I just want to let you guys know, like, women take so much responsibility for that, but we've had episodes on sperm health and everything like that. Like, there's so much in the men's boat as well. Like, the sperm needs to be healthy. So Vito did
it makes sense, right?
Right.
There's two people creating one life.
Right.
So you'd think, hey, let's make
half
sure
the genes are yours.
Let's make sure that my stuff is good too.
Right. So we did use the NutriVerve, those women who have the prenatal for men. Mm-hmm. I had you taking those every day. Vito just takes whatever supplements I put in front of him. So.
You could be giving me anything.
He just takes them. But I also, I had worked with Dr. Patrick Flynn to work on my gut health. I know when I stopped eating those foods that were causing inflammation, my bloating went away. Mm-hmm. I felt way better and healthier. And that was just important for me to try to start to balance my hormones and get healthy. So, we did a lot of stuff I had been preparing for almost 6 months before we got pregnant.
And by preparing, you mean taking care of your health. Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily eating like high fertility fruits or
right. Yeah.
Just overall health, wellness, stress reduction. Mm-hmm. You were working out and running and whatever, and just And I was doing the same, and apparently I was taking prenatals.
Yeah. But that was just kind of like our routine, I guess.
We had no sex routine.
No.
If that was part of the question,
Well, when we
I know some people are like, hey, I'm ovulating next week. We need to start now. We just kind of did it daily, mm-hmm. just to cover the grounds, I guess.
Right. I was wearing my Ava bracelet just because I was really curious, because I have an app that I would track my period with, but that would always say like I ovulated around day 14, 15. Whereas the bracelet, I actually ovulated later than I thought. But we weren't ever like, oh, I'm ovulating right now, we need to do it.
Right. Well, you found out too that you're not supposed to wait until your ovulation. You're supposed to do it before.
Right. It's really important to, because sometimes if you wait till your ovulation day, you could have missed the window. But sperm can stay alive up to 5 days before, and we never go more than 5 days without sex. So I wasn't too worried about it.
Right. But even one of the ladies in the community was asking because they're trying to conceive, and I guess the husband's under the impression that you're supposed to wait until ovulation day, and you're supposed to do it before.
Right.
And frequently.
You have higher chances if it's the day before, and if you're doing it
often.
Yeah. Like the week of your ovulation, I would do it like every other day. Just because.
Every day. Why not?
Well, I mean, the first time we got pregnant, we were doing the Sextober challenge. So we were having sex every day.
Yeah. Well, actually, we thought we missed the window the first time.
We did, yeah.
Because it was like the day of or after that you ovulated.
Yeah.
But you Sandoz women are super fertile. So...
Yeah. Well, but also I was going off that one pregnancy app and not my actual like Ava bracelet. Yeah, I could have ovulated a couple days later because I don't ovulate on day 14.
Okay.
So, but we did think that it was too late. We were just randomly like, let's try. But yeah, I think for us just wanting to be healthy, and not just for the baby and the pregnancy, but we know that parenting is hard, like just from watching the people in our lives, like, and the healthier you are, and then the better set up you are to have better energy and things like that. But I also know that when it comes to pregnancy, you could be the healthiest person in the world and you could still have severe morning sickness. You could still have, hyperemesis. You could still develop preeclampsia. It's kind of like all bets are off when you're pregnant, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't try to be healthy or take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what one thing with the chemical pregnancy that really slapped me in the face was we have no control at all.
Right.
So you can do everything right. You can be as prepared as you feel like you can be. And it's not under your control. And then now with this virus stuff, it's like, we thought like nobody would have anticipated this, but it's like, again, nothing's under our control. So you just roll with the punches, take it as it is, and go with it. To beat yourself up or to think that, oh, it's my fault or we could have done something different is a waste of time and energy. It's not good for you. And just accept that nothing's under your control and have faith, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So somebody asked like tips to make that 2 week wait easier. And when did we go to the doctor? So that
2 week wait?
Yeah. In between, like you have sex and you feel like you ovulated until you get your period and you can take a pregnancy test. So Vito wasn't even really thinking about it, I feel like, or you were at least trying not to.
So we actually fought.
Yeah.
So the first time with the chemical pregnancy, we were like, all right. So Liz had taken a test like the week before your missed period. So it shows up.
A few days before.
Whatever. It shows up and it was like, hey, I'm pregnant. And there was like the faintest line. She showed it to me and I was like, that's not a positive pregnancy test. It was so faint. And then she took a couple more and I was like, oh, wow, we're pregnant. Cool.
Yeah.
And then it didn't work out. And obviously it brings up a lot of fears and whatever. So then this time we agreed like, hey, let's wait longer. And next time you take a test, like, let me know, whatever. So Liz came out of the bathroom one day and was like, babe, look.
No, I texted you, and then you called me.
Oh, no, it was Christmas.
No.
Or
I texted you, and then you called me, and you're like, why'd you take the test?
Oh, yeah. So I got super mad because I thought we were going to wait, because we were both scared. And it's not easy, no matter how common it is. Chemical pregnancies, it's not easy. So when we did that, like, it wasn't this whole beautiful, like, oh my God, we're pregnant. It was a lot of fear. And I was like, you said we weren't going to take a test. And I was yelling and stuff. And then you're like, oh, you kind of went into your shell, and then a couple weeks later you took another one, or was it how much?
I took one every week then. Then I took one a week later, and then a week later.
So,
yeah. So
in between taking the test and waiting till you get your period or not, just don't think about it and keep having sex. Really, it's just like, for us at least, everyone's different, but we were under the impression of like, hey, let's use this time to connect, and we did through sex and whatever, hanging out and stuff, and then it was like, if it happens, it doesn't, but we're not gonna like try.
Well, we didn't want to like have sex just to have a kid.
Right.
Like we wanted to make that an important part of our relationship and work on intimacy and have like an established good sex life for when we do have kids or get pregnant. Because I feel like that's been one thing throughout the pregnancy. Like we've continued, like we've still had a good sex life. Mm-hmm. And I've been lucky that I didn't get super sick. I know for some people, they just feel so sick and it's really hard for them. And for me, that hasn't been the case. So we just wanted to focus on each other and our relationship. And if a baby came out of it, awesome.
Yeah. Well, sex is one of those things too that could be either really growing as a couple, or it could be a stress factor, depending on how you go about it, your intention behind it, and how you view it. So that's something for us too, that this is the only thing that only us two share. Mm-hmm. So we didn't want it to be another task or another like job. We work hard enough, mm-hmm. We don't need anything else to be on that list. It was more like, this is our time to connect and to grow together. So let's just leave it at that. And then if something comes from it, great. If it doesn't, great. Mm-hmm. At least we're closer,
Right. Yeah. And so then we waited to go to the doctor because the first time, so as soon as I got the positive pregnancy test, we went to the doctor at 5 weeks to get the confirmation appointment. This time I was scared to make that appointment because I was kind of waiting for the same thing to happen. So I think after that 5 week mark, I think we both kind of felt a little relief. And then after the 6 week mark, we felt a little bit of relief. Like every week that went on, it was like, okay, I made it further than last time. Maybe everything's okay. So I waited until 7 weeks and called my midwife, and we made an appointment and went in and got the good news.
Yeah, and it's really weird because I feel like every time we've gone in since then, in the back of my mind, it's like you're preparing for bad news. Yeah.
And
I don't think now anymore, like for our 20 week that we're going in for, it's, you're excited because like you're feeling the baby now, like doing weird stuff.
Yeah.
And we heard the heartbeat, which was out of this world. It was crazy. And
saw the baby too. Remember, it was waving at us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Laying on its back with its legs crossed in the air.
Yeah,
so
it was
cute.
really cute. And it's just fighting those fears or like thoughts, negative thoughts, of like, it's going to be what it's going to be. So go in optimistic, have fun. Like, why live in constant fear, or why live like constantly preparing for the worst? Mm-hmm. So that's been a battle, but it's fun going now because it's something new every time. And we'll see. I hear the 20 week appointment is important.
Right. Which I'm super excited for, the 20 week anatomy scan, and because that's the only other ultrasound that we'll do. So we're excited.
That's it. This is the last one.
Mm-hmm. I mean, every other time that we go in, they'll check the baby's heartbeat and everything like that. But, so how I kind of found out that I was pregnant though, because both times I have a blog that you guys can check out. I have like a detailed week by week, of emotionally, physically, mentally, everything with this pregnancy. And for me, the first sign both times was my pee smelled different. And that's something that I didn't read. I'm using 4 different pregnancy apps, and I've read so many books from my doula work and then now being pregnant. And none of them like put that as like an early symptom.
What did it smell like?
And not bad, just different. It didn't smell, it's like both times I'm like, my pee smells different. And then I took a test and it was positive both times. So because then after the loss, my pee went back to normal.
Really?
And then when I got pregnant again, like toward the fourth week when you take a test, I'm like, dude, my pee smells different. So
like asparagus different? Or?
No, not that. Like just not bad. There was just like a different smell to it. And I didn't read that in anything that I've read or on it. And most of the early pregnancy signs, that was the other thing that I was worried about. I didn't have any of them. Like my boobs didn't start getting tender until like 9 weeks. And I didn't start getting nauseous, I think, till like 8 weeks, and it really only lasted a couple weeks. I had a few days of nausea. I definitely had food aversions and cravings, but like all of those initial signs that you have at the beginning, I didn't really have any.
Sure.
So my pee was the only thing that really gave me a hint.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found out because my pee smelled weird, so I decided to take another pregnancy test, and then I texted it to Vito, and yeah. So people in which we didn't really time things, we weren't really actively trying, we weren't preventing, obviously. And then when are we due? We're due the end of August, beginning September. I honestly don't believe in due dates, so I'm not telling people.
Well, it's kind of a faulty system. They just go
is.
to the date of your last period, and it's like, well, you could have conceived.
But they're also assuming that you ovulated on day 14.
Right.
And
well, how many people actually give birth on their due date?
it's a low number.
It's got to be low.
It is low. I don't remember. I used to know the exact percentage, but I don't really believe in due dates.
No,
So,
you have a general idea.
I think 37 to 42 weeks is full term, and that's what we're shooting for.
Yeah.
So end of August, beginning September, somewhere in there. And I'm telling myself September.
Wait, April, May, June, July, August. Oh boy.
Oh boy. So people want to know should we save the birth plan for the end and just talk about all the pregnancy stuff, or?
Sure.
Okay. How are you dealing with the pregnancy now?
Me?
Yeah.
Not doing anything. So this is something else that we kind of had to work through, because as the father, or the
Sperm donor that
sperm
you are.
donor, yeah, it's that genuinely how it feels is I do nothing. So I did my job, and like now I feel so useless, and I feel like I have nothing to contribute. So all I do is just listen and be emotional support.
Which is huge, though.
Right, but like I don't feel anything, and my body's not changing, my hormones aren't changing. It's nothing for me, you know? But like you are growing a human inside of you, and your body is going into places it's never gone before, and you're getting nauseous and tired, and your hormones are all over, and it's like I'm kind of sitting here trying to understand what you're going through, and I will never and have no idea and will never know what that feels like. So it's been really hard to relate, because when you weren't pregnant, it was like, oh, a human experience, you know, like, yeah, I can relate. I know where you're coming from here. But now you're just like, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
So for me, how I'm dealing with it, just trying to be nice to you when you're not the nicest to me. I mean, just being understanding and stuff, and kind of,
well, because so my niece
Really?
Brooke lives with us, and she's been observing things in our marriage, which has been fun. But you've said I've been like a little bit snappier.
oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it snappier.
But I don't feel like I am, and you don't make me feel like I am.
Well, no.
I feel like you just roll with the punches.
Fault. Yeah. I'm understanding it's not your fault that you're being the way you are, and you're not bad, babe.
No, I know. But like sometimes I'm just like, rah, rah,
Right.
rah.
And then you like slam the door, and I'm like, what was that interaction? What just happened here? But yeah, for me, it's nothing really. I'm just a support system now.
Right. Oh, and you've been awesome. Like, especially so in the first trimester when I was having some really bad nausea, like I said, I've been really lucky that it was only a few days. I only had it a few days where I'm like, if this is what it's going to be like all the time.
You've had a very easy pregnancy,
I don't know
it
if this
seems
is worth it. Like, I had a few days of feeling like that and then feeling extremely guilty because I'm like, this isn't worth it. Like, feeling like this all the time is horrible. So I only had a few days of that. And like one day I was in bed and I was like, can you please make me a smoothie? And you like brought me a smoothie in bed, and you've just been really supportive and helpful. Cause there was a couple weeks in January where I didn't cook at all because just the smells of things, and I couldn't deal with raw meat, but I would only get like slightly nauseous here and there and have some food aversions, but nothing, like I never threw up. I have never like been down for days or anything like that. So I've been, really blessed. I think my energy is definitely different. I get tired out easier, and things like that. But I think for me, it's been more of an emotional journey. I know around 12 weeks, my nipples started changing, and nowhere in any of my apps or my books did it say it would change that early too. Yeah. And I'm like, my boobs are already changing. And right now I hate my boobs. Like, they're so obnoxious and I don't like them. And it's like, I just feel like they're in my way, and they're making everything tighter. Like, when I zip up my jacket, my boobs are just like pushed together, and like, just the body changes were emotional for me. I think now that it's more obvious that I'm pregnant, it's not as emotional. But for a while, I'm like, I just look like I'm getting chubby. This is great. And
the amount of times I've heard I look like a whale in the last 2 months. Oh, boy. Yeah, that's something that you definitely struggled with more than I thought you would.
Same. I didn't think I would really struggle with that at all.
Yeah. But I think another thing back to kind of how I'm dealing with it was in the beginning you were spotting. And it was definitely really scary for both of us. But obviously your hormones are going more, whatever. So for me, it was like I had to be the quote unquote rock or whatever. And then after we found out everything was okay and that spotting can be normal, we went to the midwife and got the ultrasound and stuff. Then you were like, oh my God, babe, like you were so calm during this. And I was like, yeah, the hell I was. I was freaking out the whole time, but
that was
I had to be calming.
Right. When I had spotted a little bit before, I didn't even tell you all the times because I'm like, this probably isn't a big deal. But then it was around 9 weeks where I had a big gush of blood. And then I got really scared. And that was, we went to Texas over the weekend, and all the pregnancy symptoms I had been feeling, I felt like went away because I had kind of been a little nauseous. I'd kind of been whatever, and it was all gone. And I was freaking out. And that's like when we came back, and then everything was fine. But we were definitely expecting the worst after that.
Yeah, when we went to Texas that weekend, I thought for sure we had lost the baby again. Just because, it was a very big gush of blood. And tell them what it was, what the doctor said.
Well, she said, because of, it could have been a few different things, but I have a low-lying placenta. It's not covering my cervix, but because my placenta is growing and changing, and it starts to move up, it grows away from your cervix. It could have just been some of those changes, or so much is changing in my cervix. And with the blood flow and everything, it could have been a bursted like blood vessel. So, and then I had like some dried blood over the weekend. So having like brown blood was scary, thinking that was part of a loss. So, but I didn't have any of the other symptoms of a loss, like cramping, but sometimes people don't have that. And that's a hard thing. Everything is so different for every person. Like, they're like, if you miscarry, you could have extreme cramping and bleeding, but some people feel nothing. Yeah. It's like, okay.
It's like when you WebMD, like I sneeze, and they're like, well, you could have cancer, you could have just sneezed.
You might be dying. So, yeah. So how is being pregnant during the pandemic? I think that the only difference, I guess, I really feel, I'm pretty quarantined, so I'm not feeling like nervous or anything like that. But I had just started getting my energy back, and I've been like wanting to go to the gym and then I couldn't. So I've just been walking. Some people asked about my exercise routines. I wish I was doing more, and I am going to start. But
I was going to say, it's not a wish. You just do it.
But I mean, right now I'm walking with Hutch 2 to 3 miles a day, doing squats every day, and then every once in a while doing like a yoga video and stretching. So that's really all I'm doing. I'd like to be doing a little bit more, so I just need to do it.
Yeah, I think the fact that you're quarantined is good. I know when you got called into that birth, I was not excited about it.
Yeah.
But then you were the last doula to go in until they shut it down.
Yeah.
They actually shut it down while you were there. So they let you finish out the birth and stuff. But it's been pretty easy, I guess, as long as you're not exposed. It's just wild to think that we're bringing a baby into the world during this time.
Right.
Well,
and I feel like the hardest part for me was, so our 18-week appointment was canceled just because they're trying to limit people coming in. Well, they're offering like phone support and things like that. They're just trying to limit people coming into the office. They're like, if you really feel like you need to come in, come in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not in that really need category, but we were like, we didn't get to hear the baby's heartbeat.
Right. But even for the 20-week, like, I don't even want to go in for that.
I do.
Like, why are we going to a hospital?
I told you they might cancel it or they might move locations. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, if they move locations, that's cool. But it's just stuff you would never think about or that you take advantage of or not take advantage of, take for granted.
Right.
That, now what do we do?
So has being a doula helped you have a different outlook on pregnancy? I don't know if it's made me have a different outlook on pregnancy, because I think I have a different outlook on birth, but on pregnancy, the only outlook I guess it's changed is this is obviously my first, I can relate so much better to people now being through it. And I have a lot more empathy. Because until you've gone through it, I guess you really don't know. But, I mean, pregnancy's still pretty foreign to me. It's like you could read all the books, but again, everybody's body is so different.
Right.
Which I don't think that means don't read the books. I think it's still good to get that information. But it's definitely just made me more aware of the emotional side, I guess, of pregnancy.
Yeah. Well, as a birth doula, you can help out a lot with, the mental preparation for giving birth and what kind of positions or pressure points and all of that. And like you said, and kind of what we're reading and what you're going through, it's so different for everybody that even if, like you said, even if you were to read all the books, everybody's personal experience is so different. It's more just like the emotional side of it, being compassionate and empathizing, and which I think you're awesome at.
Thanks. Yeah, I also feel like
Am I going to be your doula?
No.
What?
You already know this. We'll get to that.
Would I be a doulo?
Doulo. You're my doulo. I think that the positive about being a pregnant doula, though, is that I have like a endless list of resources for things. So when I'm experiencing lower back pain, I know how beneficial it is to go to a chiropractor. I know that going to a chiropractor throughout your pregnancy and especially toward the end and getting regular adjustments actually helps keep your pelvis open, helps make for an easier labor, things like that. I know yoga is so beneficial for pregnancy. It's like even just doing this podcast and interviewing different people, I've learned so much. So it's like, okay, if I'm having a problem, I know that there's an endless resource list for it. So I know that there's a solution. And obviously there's some things where it's like, if you're just really sick and you're whatever, you're so limited on things you can do. But I feel like it's been nice that I know, I hadn't been stretching before I got pregnant. And now every night before I go to bed, I'm stretching. I'll stretch a little bit throughout the day because I just know how beneficial that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, does being a doula make you prefer a certain type of birth? And what are you going to do to have an easy labor/birth. I don't think necessarily being a doula makes me prefer a certain type of birth. I think because everybody's so different. So when I go into births, it's not about me or what my preferences are. It's what's best for this person. What do they need? How can I be here for them? So it's hard to say, like, if it makes me prefer a certain one. I tend to love water births just because it's such a smooth transition for the baby coming into the world, going from being in the amniotic sac inside your body into water. Babies who are born at water births don't cry.
What?
They do cry. So, but normally when the baby comes out, they want to get them to cry a little bit because it helps clear the lungs, everything like that. And babies who are born outside of water tend to be a little more like stunned and a little more like when they come out. Babies born in water, it takes them a little bit longer to cry because they're so chilled out. They're just like zen. So you lay them on you and they're like, what's this life? What's going on? Like, so they'll try to like rub them vigorously to get them to start to cry, to clear the lungs and things like that. And it's also just so much cleaner. Then you get out of the water and it's not like there's like blood everywhere.
all the blood's in the bathtub.
Yeah. No, it actually isn't. I mean, you get out, especially where I work, you get out to deliver the placenta because they want to be able to track your bleeding. And if you're just in the water, you can't track how much you're bleeding. And it's important to know how much blood you've lost. So you do get out for that. But it's also helps to reduce tearing, just things like that. So that's definitely what we're going to try for, which we'll get into. And what are you going to do to have an easy labor birth? I don't think there's such thing. I don't think there's anything you can do. Like,
it'll be easy for me.
I think I'm going to do everything I can to be prepared. So doing squats is so beneficial, going for walks, doing yoga. The things I'm going to do to help prepare my body, I'm already drinking red raspberry leaf tea, only one a day, but in the third trimester, I'm going to drink like 3-4 cups a day. That helps tone your uterus, helps prepare your body.
3-4 cups a day, babe?
Of red raspberry leaf tea, yes. Also, at 36 weeks, I'll start eating 5-6 dates a day. That's been proven to help soften your cervix. It makes for shorter labors, helps you dilate easier. I'm just going to do all of those types of tips and tricks and things, but you can prepare as much as you can. But again, there's always, you never know. There's things that can be out of your control, and everything is out of your control. So I'm going to do everything in my power that I've studied and learned to be prepared. So, all right. What is the nutrition, diet, lifestyle look like during pregnancy?
Fast food and Coca-Cola.
Yeah, right. I did have a few cravings for sure, but I don't think I've ever gone overboard. You surprisingly haven't been asking for Taco Bell. No, I told you I had it that one week like 2-3 times, and then I was over it. Yeah. I'm like, nope, I'm good. Which is surprising. So I thought for sure I was going to be making a lot of Taco Bell runs. No, I mean, now we can't, but. Right. No, but I get these organic raw tortillas from Costco, and I love just making homemade burritos. Well, you've been craving fresh fruits and stuff, right? Well, the first trimester, it was a lot of frozen mango fruit smoothies, which I'm lucky that that's what I craved. I did add, because I wasn't eating eggs or bread due to my allergies, but I did add those back in because there was a lot of mornings where, like, the only thing I could, like, that I really wanted in the morning was a piece of peanut butter toast or an egg. Yeah, I feel like I've been having a lot of cravings too since you got pregnant. Yeah, you're so silly. But for me, nutrition is a huge part, and I have had like a vegetable aversion. Mostly cooked vegetables are hard for me. I still love fresh veggies. But I finally was able to find my favorite fresh squeezed green juice ever. And I just stocked up on 12 giant bottles of it. Like one bottle will last me 4 days. These are good till the end of May. So they'll last me the next 2 months. You're going to drink 12 of those things in 2 months? Heck yes. Wow. Yeah.
Does it give you... Never mind. Go ahead.
No, so, and that's an easy way for me to get my greens in, is to every morning drink a glass of this green juice. And if I'm feeling like I haven't had enough, I try to make a smoothie, pack it with some spinach, maybe some green superfood powder, and then just some fruit. I love sauteed kale and spinach, so I'll just kind of add those into recipes, even if it's not a part of it. But other vegetables have kind of been harder for me to eat. It's actually getting easier. For a while, it was like, ugh. I could only eat broccoli if it was like covered in cheese. But now it's a lot easier. But and then taking prenatal. So I am taking Dr. Jolene Brighton's prenatal vitamins just because I believe in her message and her products. I'm also taking the Ancient Nutrition collagen every single day, trying to do the bone broth protein every once in a while, and just trying to stay healthy with that, eat a balanced diet. I believe in the 80-20 rule.
80% Snickers, 20% greens?
No. Try to eat healthy 80% of the time and then 20% of the time, whatever.
You're so cute.
You're so cute. Let's see. What do you do for self-care? For me, it's baths. I enjoy taking baths.
I think they were asking me. I like to take naps.
Oh, you're so cute. All right, so let's get into the birth plan. Somebody asked, is he on board with a home birth? Or what are you thinking that y'all want to do?
Yeah, so initially our plan was, before this pandemic and before I ever talked to like a midwife, I was cool with doing the first birth at a hospital, and then depending how it goes and understanding what goes into birth, then we can make a decision to do home births the next whatever times. Just because my sister-in-law had 2 emergency C-sections that she could have died in both. And that was super traumatic, and I wasn't even involved. My sister, she had hospital births. She did the numbing.
The
epidural. And hers were pretty smooth, no problems.
Yeah, she had easy labors.
Yeah, but just having doctors there, I understand now that I'm married to you and listen to your podcast and everything, that there are a lot of pros and cons to both.
Right.
And the fact that you started working at Amita at this midwifery place, there's a lot of awesome resources, and I feel like it's a great, balance. It's a great compromise.
Yeah.
Giving birth there, because you can do water birth and they dim the lights and you could have music and the whatever. It's it's very homey, and you have a lot of choices, and you're very much controlling your birth.
The midwives there. So the clinic I work for, it's a midwife clinic, but we birth out of a hospital. So they have like 5 rooms in the back that have birthing tubs. Yeah. And they use those for the midwife patients. And then the other ones are for the OB's patients.
Right. And it brings the peace of mind of knowing that if there was an emergency, there is all the stuff there and the surgeons and whatever.
And the midwives work very hands off. Like they're very, if somebody's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I need to push, they're like, trust your body, go as your body feels.
Right. They're never going to tell you to not push or.
Right. Unless there was some medical emergency reason. But they're very like, not going to force you to push, which actually increases tearing. You can request to, like one birth I went at, all this lady wanted was complete silence. She sat in the bath, got out, got on the bed, started pushing, and had her baby. And anytime anybody's like, are you doing it? She'd be like, I need silence. Nobody talk. Nobody told her to push. Nobody told her when to stop. Nobody told her anything. The midwife held a warm compress on her perineum to help prevent tearing. And she just listened to her own body and literally had that baby in an hour. It was crazy. Yeah. But they're just they will do everything they can to make it your birthing experience. There's so much about informed consent. They don't use any scare tactics. They're such an amazing, amazing place to work. So I've been pretty on board with doing it there.
And then, again, depending on how it goes. The problem is in Chicago, there's not a lot of very highly recommended midwives to do home births at. There's seems to be like one. Mm-hmm. And then the other two that we like have full-time jobs at the hospital.
Yeah.
So if we were to do a home birth, I would like to have either of those two, and then maybe the one if we meet her and like her, whatever. But with this whole virus stuff going on and going to the hospital, I am 100% on board with doing a home birth. Just because the more I understand about it and the more you trust a midwife, if there is. So the reason why my sister-in-law was rushed into an emergency C-section was, it didn't, if something were to happen at home, you wouldn't be as careless, right? So like if there was anything, any data or whatever showing that, hey, this isn't a perfectly set up birth, we're going to the hospital. Mm-hmm. We're not taking any risk. It's nothing like that. So like if we were to have a home birth, it would be everything's healthy. All the vitals are good. You're good. You're not at risk for anything. The baby's not at risk for anything. The chances of us having a good, healthy birth are very, very high. So
it's like 99%.
Right.
0.9.
But if there was anything that showed, hey, this might not go well, or you're at high risk of this, then we're going to the hospital. Then, let's do it. So with this pandemic, I'm definitely more on board with doing a home birth if the midwife is good, mm-hmm. and we trust her and like her or him, either
her.
Okay. So, but if not, then we would do it at your place, your mm-hmm. birthing center.
So as of right now, which I'm sure by the end of August, beginning of September.
Yeah, who knows? Hopefully.
We'll be settled down. But we're planning on going through the clinic that I work at. We love the midwives there. And I think just even having conversations with the midwives there has opened your eyes up a lot.
I've asked about 1,000 questions.
Every time we go in. But don't you like that? Like, I feel like you've learned probably more just by going to my appointments than you have in any of our conversations.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, there's one thing when your spouse tells you something, and then there's another thing when someone else tells you. But yeah, I would ask all the ridiculous questions. I'm like, listen, we're going to be here for an hour because I have questions. And the midwife's like, perfect. She'll like lean back and be like, yeah, I'll answer whatever I can.
Well, and that's the thing I love about my practice too. They take their time with you at every single appointment. You don't just go in, get checked, and you're out.
Yeah.
They sit with you. They're like, any other questions? What do you want? You never feel like they're in a rush to get you out.
Right.
I feel like I'm like, okay, we've been taking up a lot of your time.
You're the one that's like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, no, I got a couple more.
Yeah.
But what's cool too is when we do it at Amita, like I can help.
Oh yeah, they told Vito he can help deliver the baby.
So I said, I'm like, listen, I'm either going to be passed out on the floor or elbow deep because like I have to be doing something. If I'm just a spectator, I'll freak out.
Yeah, which was cool.
I need to have a purpose, you know.
Right. So Vito can help deliver the baby. The last birth I was at, the dad did. He caught the baby, and when the baby was coming out, blood squirted all the way up his arm. And it was pretty funny. He's like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
But he caught the baby and then handed her over to his wife. So it was really sweet.
I'm excited,
babe. I'm gonna have your baby.
Yeah. Can you believe
baby? Yes and no. I still forget I'm pregnant a lot.
I do too.
I'll forget I'm pregnant.
Well, not anymore because you're definitely showing.
Yeah. Between my tatas and my belly.
Man, that booty, girl.
Everything's getting bigger.
I don't know how vulgar I can be on your podcast, but we'll keep it PG. But
I'm trying.
Liz is looking fantastic. We'll just keep it at that.
I'm glad you like my pregnancy body.
Yeah.
Okay, so have we decided on baby names? Do we have any specific criteria for baby names?
Yeah, so I think we're going to go with, if it's a boy, COVID, and if it's a girl, Covida. Just to, for the times.
For the times.
No, we have a girl's name, which you're never going to know. Well, not never, but if it's a girl, you'll know. And then we don't have any boy names. Mm-mm. And I don't want to do, in the Italian culture, some regions name the boys, like Junior.
Right.
We would name him Vito. And I just don't like that. I don't judge people who do it. I just don't like it for some reason. You know why? Because I have an uncle, Vito. And when we were at family parties, everyone's always like, Vito. And I would go to look. And it was always never me. So you always just feel like, oh, no one wants to talk to me. So
that's how I feel now with Elizabeth living here.
Yeah.
My great niece, her name's Elizabeth.
You turned into Lizzie all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't have any boys' names. And then what was it? Any preference or any criteria for what?
Yeah, for the names. And yes, we do have criteria. For me, name meanings are big. So, like, I was looking up names the other day, and there's, like, names of people that I know. And I'm like, do they know that their name means this? Like, it is the worst name meaning ever. Like, for me, there's a lot of...
One who kills small goats.
Right. It's like, for me, name meanings are very important because I feel like we are naming our child that. We're, like, putting that meaning on them.
Yeah,
to carry on.
It's one of the most, I don't know, I've been looking at it as a very important decision. Every child grows into their name.
Right,
regardless of how ridiculous the name is.
Right.
Like, there's this soccer player, and his name is Zlatan, Z-L-A-T-A-N. Mm-hmm. And it's like, he's a perfect Zlatan. Like, that's just, it's not a real word, but that's who he is, you know?
Whenever you say that, I want to say Zoltan.
Yeah.
Zoltan.
Dude, where's my car?
Yeah.
Yeah, so... You know, obviously everybody grows into their name, but I know for me and my brother's name is Bruno, and it's a very, like, hard, masculine, tough name, and he grew into a very hard, masculine, tough person, and it's like, how much of that was his name? Mm-hmm. And how much of it was whatever? Because my name is Vito, it's kind of...
life.
Yeah, it's kind of nicer, it's not as rough, whatever, and you kind of grow into your name.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something we're not taking lightly, but you also don't want to look too much into it.
Right, but I'm not going to name my son something that means man who kills small goats.
Right. I mean, maybe.
No.
But so, we do have a girl's name.
Yeah, we're not just like, oh, I like this name. It sounds good. It's like, what does it mean? Where did it come from?
Well, kind of. With the girl's name we did, and then we looked it up and we're like, oh, yeah, we like that.
Yeah, because I've always loved that name.
Yeah.
Which I'm so surprised that you did.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot, yeah.
I'm really surprised.
But no boys' names. The boys' names that I love, my brother named his boys.
Yeah, that's so stupid. But the meaning of those names aren't that great. I was looking them up, and they
Pasquale means Easter, and what's
Lorenzo means a man from Lorenz, or something like that.
Yeah, so... It doesn't have to have for my criteria. No, it doesn't have to have this like spiritual meaning. Like
for me,
Liz looks at the moon and she's like, "Oh, we're at a waxing crescent in March, so the kid's name's going to be
shut up
Lion or something." Or I don't know.
I do love one boy name that Vito hates. So still working on.
Yeah, no.
Is there any preference in gender? Are we finding out the gender?
No. Healthy baby, healthy mama. That's it.
Is there a feeling on gender?
I'm just going with we're having all girls so that if we do have a boy, it'll be a pleasant surprise.
I've felt back and forth, honestly. I know you guys probably all heard when Dr. Patrick Flynn told me I'm having all girls. And since he said that, I want to prove him wrong and say I'm having a boy. Because I just don't understand how that works. If Vito's dropping like the X or the Y.
Yeah.
So, but...
I think I'd be a good girl dad.
You'd be amazing.
But a boy would be cool.
Yeah, I think...
Honestly, 10 fingers, 10 toes, healthy baby, healthy mama, that's it. That's honestly all I care about.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're not going to find out, so we're going to be surprised. I want Vito to be the one who tells me what it is.
Yep.
What the little nugget is. But yeah, I don't know if I really have a feeling. It's like, for a while I thought maybe a boy. Now I kind of feel girl. But I really have no idea. I think because I'm scared to like commit to what I think it is. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to be like, oh, I'm having a boy, then it's a girl. And then me be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I was projecting this onto you in my womb. You know, like.
Whatever it is, it's going to be a very active child because it's already flipping around. And
yeah.
In the ultrasound, it was dancing and waving and stuff. And so.
I feel like it does somersaults inside my belly.
Yeah, it's going to be but I think we're both pretty energetic and lively, so
yeah,
it'll be fun. And we have this crazy dog that is very energetic and lively.
Right. Am I going to be having a doula?
Yeah, me. Hello.
So actually, my sister, babe, you've known this forever.
Dude, whatever.
Vito obviously is going to be a huge support. I'm planning on having my mom, Vito's mom, my sister, and Vito at my birth. So
and the midwife,
obviously. But my sister's, I was her doula. She's doulaed for friends before, and she knows a lot of tips and tricks. So she's like, I need to pay you back. I need to help you how you help me. And so I know that she'll be really good support. But not to say, if this virus thing's still going on and we have, let's say we're doing a home birth and we have 15 people living with us now because all your family's from out of town, like that's not something I want either. My dad won't be here. Corinne's family won't be here. It'll just be her.
It's just we have to be really purposeful about how we do things. If this is still the case in 5 months, which it very well might be.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting sprayed down at the door with Lysol.
Yes. So baby registry, how are you dealing with all of the options?
Literally have not looked at it once.
I finished the baby registry. And I think that I actually used the Natural Mama Guide for a lot of things. And for me, the most important thing on the baby registries is registering for things that are non-toxic. Because if you look at it, a lot of cribs have a lot of toxins, chemicals, even formaldehyde, car seats.
We have a lot of things in the States that are illegal in other countries.
In Europe and other places. So it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And we also have like the highest disease. So compared to other high-income nations.
Well, for the baby registry, I mean, I haven't looked at it, but we talked about it. And it was only essentials and as much stuff that is non-toxic as possible.
Right. So
I haven't looked at it, but we'll see
over.
how many non-essentials are on there.
Yeah, not tons. It's pretty minimal. Oh, I need to get a high chair. I forgot to get a high chair. But for me, I used the Mama Natural Guide and did a lot of non-toxic products. I honestly didn't feel that overwhelmed at first, but as soon as I started putting it together, and I used Baby List, and Baby List makes it so easy. You literally can go to any website and you just click on your, what's it called when it's saved up here, babe? Bookmark?
It's like a bookmark, or it's a web extension.
Yeah. They make it so easy to just register from any site, anything. So we use that. And then somebody asked about cloth diapers and if we were planning on doing that.
So when I think about cloth diapers, I just think about the Rugrats. And that seems awful. And if you have to like spray it all down all the time, but it seems like the new cloth diapers are pretty easy. So I think we're going to try.
No, we are.
We're going to try in the beginning and then see how it goes.
Because for me, the pros way outweigh the cons. So American parents use an estimated 27.4 billion disposable diapers every year. The shells have petroleum in them. There's chemicals used in the process of making them. Plus, most of them are made in China, so that round trip transportation. So the environmental footprint is a lot. Also, you spend an average of $2,500 per kid for diapers. If you use cloth diapers, it's a one-time $500 basically investment. Then you can reuse them for all of your kids.
But don't you have to throw away the plastic?
No, the outer shells.
Right. And what's in the inside?
You use little cloth things and you do laundry.
I thought there was something that was disposable on it.
You can get disposable liners inside if you want. And if you get the disposable liners inside, you get the ones that are compostable. And
we would throw it in our garden?
You can, or no, they're biodegradable. I mean, they'll break down in the landfill. They don't last near as long as diapers do.
Okay.
So for me, cloth diapers is a for sure. I put them on my registry. what I've heard, because I asked in the Facebook group about it, most people say it was way more convenient than I thought.
Cool.
It's like one added extra step. And when you're in the swing of things, if that's just what we make our normal, then that's normal.
Yeah, it was normal for the longest time, so why not?
So, so I registered for those. I also put some like environmentally friendly diapers on there for newborn, just at the beginning.
Cool.
And then for traveling and stuff like that.
I trust you, boo.
People are asking, what are our nursery ideas?
What are we doing? It was between jungle and mountains.
We're doing mountains.
So it's like deer and bears and stuff. And
yeah, so Vito's cousin's an awesome artist. She's going to paint this mountain mural for us. And then basically it's going to be mountain themed.
Yeah.
We're mountain people.
Yep. It'll be fun. I like the mountains.
Love the mountains. It's
And
so
then what
earthy.
are we doing in there? Putting the crib and like a rocking chair and a changing table. And that's it.
Yeah, a dresser.
Is that what you need?
Changing table.
Well,
Yeah.
isn't the dresser the changing table?
You can get them added in together, yeah.
Okay.
But I actually just remembered I have a lot more things I need to register for. Let me just write this down really quick. Changing table. High chair.
I thought the changing table goes on the dresser.
You can do it like that.
Well,
yeah.
let's just do it like that. The less things, the better.
Yeah, that's fine.
Minimalize. We got to go through our closet again.
Yes. People are asking, are we going to sleep train? Do we have a night nanny?
No night nanny.
No night nanny.
I don't know a lot about sleep training, but I'm assuming yes.
Well, after having, so I did that episode about sleep with the lady about sleep training. And I definitely think it's something that we'll probably try. For me, I feel like I will thrive off of the baby having a routine.
Yes.
So she suggested, I already got her infant sleep training course, and she suggests to start trying around 4 months because that's when they go through a sleep regression anyways. So we're planning on the baby staying in our room for the first, we don't know how long, 4, 6 months, who knows, 5 years. And around 4 months, we'll probably try to start doing the sleep training because I learned so much when she was on just about the different methods. It doesn't mean that you have to lay your kid down and listen to them scream for 20 minutes. Like there's gentle ways you can try. There's different things you can try and you figure out what works for you, but you can still get your kid into a good routine where they're going to bed at a certain time every night, sleeping 12 hours and you get that alone time. I can take a shower. I can hang out with you, get some good rest myself.
Sure.
You know, just things like that. So
I think structure is huge.
Yeah. Vito's a big structure guy.
I mean, I'm not like type A, but definitely.
Ish. You're pretty close, babe. You're on the border.
Well, structure is good.
Yeah.
So if we can, obviously every kid is different. Every situation is different. We understand.
And that's what we know.
Right. But if we can help it, we're definitely going to do it.
Yeah. And I think that's where we're staying open-minded is like we understand we're new parents. Our baby's going to be a new baby in this world, like both trying to figure it out. Like we're learning how to keep this baby alive. This baby's learning how to live outside of utero. So it's a lot of learning and it's flexible.
I want to make sure that we don't all the parents out there can be like, oh yeah, it's easier said than done. I get it.
Right.
I understand. We're super naive. But I don't want, like, if we go out to my brother's house, whatever, and the kids are, like, tired, go to sleep. Like, go lay on the couch. Like, I don't want to have to completely, like, the kids are coming into our lives sort of thing. Now we're losing our lives to cater to the kids. Because I remember when I was a kid, it was always, like, I mean, my parents had parties till super late in the morning or whatever. We used to go to weddings and be there all night. We would just pull 2 chairs together and go to sleep. Like, obviously, infancy is a little different.
Right.
They can just sleep on your chest. But I'm saying as we become more seasoned parents, I definitely want to make sure that we keep our lives going, too, you know?
Right, yeah. And I do think that's a learn as you go, and a lot of people are laughing listening to this. Who I think has done an amazing job at that is Bruno and Carrie.
Yeah.
They always make it to every family party. They have they always have their date nights. They, and they just live with it. Like if the kids are a grump at the party or if they go to sleep at your parents' house or whatever it is, like I've never seen them leave a party early for the kids to take a nap.
Yeah.
And I mean, hey, they've survived. Their kids are fine. They're good, but everybody's different. And, the lady who I can't think of her name right now and I feel horrible, that I talked to about sleep training that came on. She also talked like about bringing a pack and play with you. Cause then you can just set it up. And if the baby's used to napping in there, you just take that with you, put the baby in the pack and play, go back and hang out with everybody.
At all the houses that we go to, they all have them. So it's nice.
Right.
You just throw them in there.
Right.
Even like when my cousins go over to my parents have one there. So it's like kids and babies are constantly taking naps while they're there for lunch or whatever.
Yeah, Rosa would always put Luca down in the pack and play at your mom's house.
Which is what I'm talking about. Like that sort of living.
Right. Like not like you have to go out all the time. Like not because we're brunching all the time, but just so we can go to family dinner at your parents' house and to your sisters.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Okay. So what are we most excited about and most nervous about?
Most nervous about keeping the baby alive. Most excited about new life. I don't know. I miss being a kid, so I feel like just watching the baby be a baby is exciting. And like watching them, just looking at my nieces and nephews, like watching them learn, watching their brain turn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where you can see that they're learning is really cool for me. I love that stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where we have to stay super curious and realize the baby's learning too. Yeah. You know, like it's so easy to be like, oh, the baby's making a mess with food and blah, blah, blah. And it's like your baby's learning how to touch, feel, and taste and experience these different things. Like,
I don't care about the mess with the food as a baby.
Right.
Once they become like 3.
And they're throwing food on the floor. It's like,
Elizabeth chucked an orange across, not this Elizabeth, that baby Elizabeth chucked an orange across the kitchen. And I was like, nope, no more oranges for you.
Right.
And she threw a fit. And I was like,
because she knows.
Well, she's got an arm. She almost threw it at the cabinet and almost exploded. I'm like, sign her up for baseball, but geez, can't do that.
Yeah. I think right now, the thing I'm most excited about is I want to be super pregnant and feel like I can't wait till I'm like 38 weeks pregnant and like you can feel the baby kick and you can see those movements. Because right now I can just kind of feel them internally. My placenta's in the front, so it blocks some of the movement. But I can't wait to give birth. I'm just so looking forward to experiencing childbirth and pushing this baby out and bringing it into life. I cannot wait. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Good luck.
And then I'm most nervous about everything that comes after. Honestly, the thing I'm most nervous about is because to the unmedicated births that I've been to, honestly, the worst part is getting stitched after. And that part, and I'm like, man, can I like push the baby out and then get an epidural and get stitched up?
Yeah, you'll be fine.
No, because they give you a lidocaine shot for local.
You'll be fine.
That's what I'm actually most nervous about is like the stitching.
You're going to be
up.
So high on life that you're not even going to know.
I'm at these births all the time, and yes, they know. They're like, oh my God, like they just had a baby. And then and almost all of them say this is worse than giving birth.
You'll be fine.
That's what I'm scared about. And then, just everything that comes after. I don't know what's going to happen.
That's why we just got to put our heads down and keep pumping them out.
Keep going. Yeah.
God willing.
Yeah. So thanks, guys, for letting us share this with you. We're super excited to have a baby. I'm excited to, I feel like I look at the podcast in a whole new way now, that I'm learning from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. So I want to bring on some more guests to help me to continue to learn in pregnancy and things like that, just because I'm like, wait, I haven't talked to anybody about this.
Yeah, bring him on.
And I want to talk to him about him. But yeah, we're excited to keep you guys posted. I'm not sure what I'm doing when I have the baby. I might take a few weeks off just to enjoy motherhood, or I'll
take over the podcast.
Or I might do a takeover and see what happens. So we'll figure it out though. Yeah.
Cool, babe.
I'm excited to have your babies, boo.
I'm excited to watch you have our baby.
But thanks, guys, so much for listening. If you are if you're listening, please take a couple of minutes to subscribe. Also, if you guys could just take a couple of minutes, if you're loving the interviews and the podcast, just to rate and review the podcast. That helps it get seen more and out there. Make sure that you're following us on Miraculous Mamas on Instagram. And if you guys want to see my week by week blog that I'm doing on my pregnancy, go to miraculousmamas.com. There's also tons of other parenting blogs and other information up there as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So
thanks for having me, babe.
Yeah, of course. All right. I love you guys, and we will talk to you next week.